Happy, your instructor. Hey, this is about my, I don't know, probably actually fourth or fifth time trying to attempt this. So I want to put this disclaimer out now. Usually it shuts off somewhere in the middle and then I restart the recording. What I'm going to do if it shuts off this time is I'm just going to start from where I left off. That way um, I can get most of the recording done. So if it cuts off in the middle, there'll be another one. I'm going to put these in numerical order so that we can get this done. All right. That's not frustrating at all. It is just a little bit, but it's okay. Anyway, so I'm recording now. So what I'm going to do is in class, in our last class, we had completed the mock-up, and the class after that, we actually went in and we sliced this out. So where we're going to start today is I'm going to start the whole process of slicing over. This way, those, if you were absent or if you just don't remember or things like that, you'll have a reference to go back to. All right, so here's the document of our SeaLife that we're going to be setting up. The first thing I like to do is actually, well, you know what? We have our local root folder because we set that up the class before this one. So in our local root folder, we had images and we had support. So I made sure that there's nothing in my images folder. Now, you guys who were in the last class, you will have stuff in your images folder because we exported it out. But in support, I put all the images that we used and that PSD document that we used to create our mockup so far. All right, so we have our SeaLife LRF, which stands for local root folder, in there, and our SeaLife folder. So I'm going to move this out the way. So the first thing I want to do, or I like to do whenever I set up my site, is I go to index, because I'm there, and I make sure that that one is highlighted. And the reason is so that when I use these guides, the guides will snap. So I'm going to go from my ruler, and I'm going to snap to the edge of my header. I already have another guide in here at the other edge because I forgot to clear that one. So I'm going to go right to where SeaLife starts, my text, and bring out another ruler. And then I'm going to bring out another ruler right to the edge of the bubbles, right here. Actually, I want where, hang on, I'm actually going to pull this to the edge of the text because that's kind of how I want this to go in there. Okay, so right here, and then I'm going to bring the top ruler down to the top of header, and I'm going to bring another ruler down to the edge of header. Now, when I'm working on this, I have my sketch right in front of me. Those of you who were in class, I showed you guys how I put the information inside of the sketch for me. So I have that here. Now, those of you who follow me along in class, some things might be different because I'm working off of the fly. Actually pretending as if we weren't in class, so I don't have my file from class. I have it, I'm just not using it. So I'm going to be doing trial and error as we go. So there will be mistakes, and then we'll correct those mistakes and all that fun stuff. So it'll just be like an in-class experience. I like those because they're natural, and you'll see me stumble, and then you'll feel normal when you stumble. I'm all about that. All right, so having all this set, what I need is I need the slice tool so that I can slice up my images. Okay, so really with this site or this mockup that we have, there's a whole bunch of color. There's really not much that I have to slice. This image I have to slice, these bubbles I have to slice, but everything else we can create inside of CSS and inside of Dreamweaver for our HTML. So I'm going to get the slice tool. Now there are two tools. There's a slice tool and a Sly Select tool. The slice tool actually creates the slices. The Sly Select tool allows you to select and alter those slices. So I'm going to choose the slice tool. I'm going to make sure I get in this upper left corner. And then as soon as I drag to this bottom right corner, it'll create a slice. When it's that dark blue, that's called selected slice or user slices. That means that are slices that we created. When you look at the gray that's on the side, those are the slices that the program, Photoshop, had to create in order for us to get to that slice. Okay, so that's why you see one here, and then you see two, and you see three. It's making this whole big slice, and then four. All right, now we're going to slice our next, and I like to keep the background active as I'm slicing, and the reason I like to keep this background active is so that I can see I get a better view of what I'm slicing. But we're going to get rid of the background later because we don't want to. We want to go ahead and create this inside of Dreamweaver when we get there. So for the next slice, I'm going to get as close to this top right edge as I can, and I'm going to slice down, and it's going to snap to that right edge. And now that says slice 4, and that's our bubbles in there. And notice Photoshop created some additional slices to get to that slice. So there's slice 5, there's slice 6, and then slice 7. Again, we didn't create these slices. These are the slices that were created by the program in order for us to get these slices that we have. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and name these. So I want to name this one Whale and name this one Bubbles. So I'm going to go grab that Sly Select Tool, because remember the Slice tool, which is what we're in right now, is just to allow us to create our slices. We go back into our panel and we choose the Sly Select Tool with that little arrow that's in the upper left corner. Now I can double click on the slice. It gives me a slice options. I'm going to name this one Whale, maybe _IMG. And then I got some information. So with my sketch in hand, now I know that my height for this one is 150 and my width is 156, which is the same as it was when we sliced it in class. That's good. That's awesome. I'm going to choose OK. And then I'm going to double click on the bubbles. And for the bubbles, I'm going to name this one Bubbles _IMG, just so that I know that it's an image. My width for this one is 306 and my height is 150, which is the same as it was in class. That doesn't always happen, guys. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm going to choose OK. All right, so I have my 2 slices. I have everything that I need to slice. I'm actually ready to go into Dreamweaver. Now, a few things that I like to grab along the way before I get there. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to grab this eyedropper tool. Okay, and I like to see my colors. So I'm going to double click inside of the color picker. Now, actually, I have all the swatches and stuff, but I'm just showing you how to do this just in case you don't have the swatches. So I'm going to click on this blue because I know that my header area is going to be this sky blue. And the sky blue color, I need these numbers right here, this index number right here. So it's 33 CC9. I'm sorry, 33CCFF. So I'm going to write that down just so that I know, okay, so my header is sky blue. Okay, great. So now I need to find out what color is this green. So I'm going to sample that green. And then I'm going to put the color of this green, which is interesting. It's different than what I have in here. And that's another important point, actually, because where you click in your picture, because it's a lot of pixels that make up this color, can be a problem. So I'm going to go and grab my swatches panel, which I hid because I didn't feel like I needed it. I do. I'm going to grab the swatches panel and I'm going to realize that I don't have the swatches because we picked them in class. All right, so let me check something real quick. Let me actually type in the numbers that I wrote down for, what was that green? Let's see, so was that the lime green? Okay, so I'm gonna try 66FF00. Let's see what green that is. That is a bright lime green. I think these are from the colors that I picked on Cooler. So let me check and see if this other color for green is the one that matches this one more. So that's lime green, it's pretty bright. And then 33CC99 is more of this teal-ish green. So let me put teal. So I guess it would be more that lime green. I'm going to go by what I already have written. So I'm going to do 66FF00. I kind of like that anyway. I think actually if I think about it, let me see. What's also factoring that green is I have this texture in the background. If I go to, what is that, nav? I think I have a texture in there. Let me go to body. Not in body. Yeah, I have a texture sitting back there, and I think that's what's impacting my color. So now if I get the eyedropper, I'm going to double click on the color just so I can see. And I choose a color that is my 3CB. Okay. I don't know, but I'm going to choose the lime green. So the lime green that I'm going with is that 3CC99. That's my favorite. Okay, so then I'm going to go to this blue with the color selected. Just to double check, let's make sure this blue, dark blue is 0400, and then let's check the sky blue. Dark blue, sky blue. I have a gray in here. All right, so these are colors that I picked from Cooler. The ones that I'm going with is that 66FF00 for lime green, 33CC99 for sea green, B0A597 for gray, 33CCFF for sky blue, and 004080 for the dark blue. So if you're going with me, then those are the ones that you're going to use. And a few other things I'll need. I'll actually have to come back for some stuff because I'll need to know about this home, like where actually is my nav bar, how large, how big is my header, and things like that. So I'm going to come back for that information. Actually, what's kind of cool, though, is because I made this slice for the well and the bubbles, the actual height of the header, I know already, look, that my header is going to be the height of 150. So I'm going to write header height 150. And then I know that I'm going to make the width pretty much a percentage of my overall area. So let me go ahead and get the, while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and get the height for my nav area. This way I can go ahead and plug these numbers in. So what we need for this is, actually I want to see how long is this recording before I go too far. You know what? As a matter, no, I'm going to go ahead. All right, so let's go ahead and two tools we need. The ruler tool, which is the one I have right now. And then the next tool that I want to make sure I have, or panel open, is the info panel. So now what this is going to do is if I increase the size of this, because I want to know what the height is. So I have the nav area. That's what I'm after right now. And I take the ruler and I go from this edge, right? And I hold shift just to constrain it. And I go down, I see that my nav height is 43. And just to check that, yep, my nav height is 43. So I could say nav, and I could say H43 for 43 pixels. I already know the width is going to be the same as the header. And I'm going to make that a certain percentage of the of the wrapper itself. So I'll figure all that out in a little bit. So the next area that I want to know the height for, and we're going to play with numbers to figure out what the width of everything is. Sidebar, which actually, let me think about sidebar for a second if I want an actual height. The way I like to do height with these, if it's an area that's going to grow, then I usually let that area grow depending on the information that we put in. So I'm not going to worry about the height for that in the content area right now. But for the footer, I will. Let's just see what our footer is. Let's grab our ruler. Shortcut for it is, of course, I, and you can cycle through, but I sometimes just like to click it. All right, so let me click here. Go down to here. And so I know that the height of the footer is, what is that, 52. Now, I just realized, it's like, hey, where am I getting these numbers from? Here's where the numbers are coming. Inside of our info panel, it'll tell us our height. It'll tell us our width if we put it in here. But this is where it's coming from. So wherever this ruler is measuring, that's the height and width that is showing. So it's an invaluable tool. Photoshop really is. All right, so I think I have, well, you know what? I think I want to know where this nav comes in. So I'm going to grab the edge. I'm going to go all the way to the H. And then I know that the nav is coming in at 500 500 pixels. So that means, I'm just going to put, that means on the left side, we're going to have 500 pixels for nav. And that's just the nav content that's inside of it. So we could do a padding of 500 pixels, which is what we'll have to do depending on what we target. And the reason we'll have to do that is because nav is already our container. And remember, if we wanted to affect margin, margin will be on the outside of the container. However, with text, it can be a little interesting, and we'll get to that as we go. But for now, we're at a good place to go ahead and get ready to slice these out. I mean, not slice them out, to go ahead and export these into a format for Photoshop. So, for the safer web. So what I want to do is I want to hide. Yep, hide and go seek, guys. That's what we're doing. We're going to hide our background information. So the nav background doesn't even really matter. We want to hide this background that's behind our header. So I'm going to header, and I'm going to hide that header background, and that's what we want. We want to see it transparent so that when we go ahead and slice it, it's only bringing the areas of color from that image. So that being said, let's go ahead and go to File. Let's go to Save for Web. And inside of Save for Web, we're in this dialog box, and we're seeing, oh my gosh, it's white. What is really happening? Happy, are you telling me a fib? I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. I promise. So I'm going to select the well, as you should too. When you select it, you'll notice that brown little bounding box around it. Yeah, there's brown. So I'm going to go ahead and select the bubbles too. Look at that. Brown bounding box. And now it's set a JPEG. Well, JPEG natively has white behind it, right? A white background. We have to tell it, hey, nope, don't want that. We want PNG 24 because we want it transparent. And you should still see that brown box around what you selected. If you see that, then you are ready to go to that next step with me. Let's do it. Let's do it, guys. Let's choose Save. All right, so when you choose Save, we need to navigate to where what we set up. I know mine's going to be complicated. Let's see. I did FCC folder for me. And then I'm going to go to SeaLife. And let me make sure I'm in the right one. Images, yep, okay. So I'm in SeaLife, and remember, we don't want to choose this images folder. Now, here's what's interesting. At the school, it worked differently. So let's just see if mine works differently. If it doesn't, then we'll have to backpedal a little bit. But I'm going to choose the SeaLife LRF, and what's supposed to happen is Photoshop will look at this images folder, it'll look for it, and then it'll put the images inside and not outside. But we're going to check that just to make sure. We want the format to be images only, our setting to be default settings. And then for slices, we definitely want it to be selected slices, the little ones that we selected. That being selected, if yours looks like mine, go ahead and choose Save. And we may have to choose it again. Oops. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to our folder and check to make sure that we have me or however many images you guys have. I have that Bubbles IMG PNG, and I have that Well IMG PNG. So that is good. That's what I want to see. I'm going to move that out the way. And now we're ready, guys. We are ready to go into Dreamweaver. All right. All right, so now in Dreamweaver, I'm going to close this. What we need to do now is we need to set up our site, okay? But before we do that, I'm going to break this video here so that it doesn't go too long in minutes. And then when we come back, we're going to set up our site and be ready for our next step. See you in a minute.